You have a man 50, he's in Alabama. It's the only place he's ever lived. He has a job. He works at the piney wood factory, at the paper mill. He works there. His wife washes clothes, or his wife works in the house of the whites. He has on the only way. It's no coincidence that Mrs. Rosa Parks takes leadership in this effort. She has a husband who's the breadwinner. They sit down and talk about these things. But people think it was an idea of fear. No, the older people were fed up too, but they had to live there. They were worried. They were worried about their children. And the young people had that impatience. Remember now, when Dr. King, when they started bringing young people out to demonstrate at the Pettisbury Bridge or in Selma and Montgomery, it was big debates because Dr. King was a little reticent about it first, by putting the kids up there. But he was convinced by Shuttlesworth and many others that they would protect the kids. But if the world saw these young people, and then of course a SNCC was founded. You have the Greensboro sit-in in '61, and then the founding of SNCC. You have the militant students at Howard. So you have these people who just won't wait. But this is the young people who are not just going to be told what to do. Not going to be told to sit down. It will come in due time, because due time is past. And they're living in the South, and they want a better life for themselves. And so maybe they don't have the organizational wisdom, but you remember that in SNCC, Dr. King wanted SNCC to become the youth wing of SCLC.
Malcolm X once talked about that young people were keen for change. Young people were responding to the call of revolution all over the world. And he seemed to believe that younger people, perhaps with a little less to lose, and not having the boundaries of income or status, occupation so rigidly defined, were much more likely to say, I'm going to risk it.
One of the things I think we have to realize is that gradual change was taking place. The older people saw, for them, change was a big difference. Whether it was gradual or immediate, there was the change occurring in the country. For the young people who had not confronted some of the more blatant forms of discrimination in the past, who, for them, the Constitution provided the rights of citizens of the United States. We're citizens of the United States. We should have the full enjoyment of those rights guaranteed by the United States Constitution, promised in the Declaration of Independence. And they weren't there. The younger people were looking at the violent resistance to the rights that we were supposed to enjoy as citizens of the United States. The violent resistance to the desegregation of Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas in 1957. The younger generation was basically determined that we were going to achieve our rights, and we were going to achieve those rights immediately.
I think that it's so difficult to assess how old participants are when we look at photographs from the 1960s. When I show my students a picture of someone from the 1960s, they think they're from the 1950s, right? There's a style of dress, there's a way of self-presentation that happens at the March on Washington that we would describe as very conservative. And so as a result, when we see these images, I think it's hard for us to really discern just how young some of the participants in the movement are. But throughout the movement, from the 1950s, the 1960s, whether it's children who are integrating schools for the first time or participants in sit-ins or jail-ins, young people are at the heart of this movement throughout. And so the March on Washington is just another example in which young people are deeply moved and radicalized by what they're seeing around them. They're seeing young people exercising their right to say that we will not be terrorized, we will not be intimidated. And so I think that it isn't so much a dichotomy of old and young. I think that it's a transformative process in which young people are assessing the risks that they have to take to stand up for civil rights, and they're willing to take it. And so a number of young people are expelled from colleges and universities, including historically black colleges and universities, for their participation in the movement. A lot of young people are alienating their parents through their membership in organizations like the NAACP. A lot of young people are causing a lot of family rift as a result of their decision to integrate their local public high school. And so I think that what you see generationally is as more progress happens, I think older African Americans feel that younger people might have more opportunities and more things to lose if they participate in the movement, and they participate anyway. And I think that in turn inspires older people to really think about what's at stake.